Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you another video. All right, so figured I'd just give y'all a quick thought on the NBA or whatever comes to mind. Because to be honest with you, we're in the dog days of summer. This is the beginning of the dog days, and it ain't a whole lot. Chances are the stuff that the NBA is going to be revolving around are things that we've been talking about already for like a couple of days. Dame, Harden, Philly, Embiid. That's what the talking points is. I told y'all that wasn't taking the bait on the Dame Lillard conversation. It wasn't juicy enough for them right now. Dame didn't leave them enough sound bites. He didn't leave them multiple places to send them. He didn't put the Lakers on the list. So it's a lot of stuff, in my opinion, that just makes it not an appealing enough story to drag out like we want it to. And James Harden doing this every 2 years, nobody's moved by that, as we already said. But Joel Embiid is the new name that everybody wants to kind of push out of Philadelphia and into a different situation. And to be honest with you, I think it's time. We've talked about it. I encourage everybody to go check out the video I made on it yesterday, and I think I made another video on it earlier before that, a couple hours before that, 12 hours before that, the day before, something like that, where we talked about what I thought Philly Joel should be thinking anyway, just in general, because of how things are going with James Harden. And the fact that Dame Lillard is now on the move with a similar contract as Joel Embiid. If a player like Joel is ready to move, he can see a path where he can be moved in a trade with Dame. If he wants the hell out, he can get the hell out without having it be unprecedented nonsense that has to happen in order for it to happen, as to which it would be any other time. But since Dame's contract is like that, it's like, oh, Dame's on the move. Well, shoot, this is my time to get the hell out of Philly. Yo, put me in this deal. Put me in this deal. And that's what it kind of felt like to me 24 hours ago I would be saying if I was him. It's like, this is a great time to get the hell out of here. $60 million of what the contract is going to be on the move. James Harden is about to skedaddle. They about to leave me with nothing but an expiring contract for $35 million on the small forward and Tyrese Maxey, and that's pretty much all they got left, in a bunch of centers. I mean, I ain't interested in playing with that next year if I'm Joel. I don't want that for my future if I'm Joel Embiid. So at this point, I'm looking and saying, okay, normally I probably wouldn't ask out because it's going to be heaven and earth having to move, and then it's going to be too much salary to even move me. It'll just lock up the market. But since Damon already jumped out ahead and said he want the hell out, boom, here I am. Let me go ahead and see what's up. So this is what it sounds like he may be thinking. But, you know, it's not a decision you want to make overnight. It's certainly not something that you just want to up and do. You want to have it in mind already. So putting that little feeler out there yesterday, talking about how he could go to any team and win a championship, it don't matter to him, basically was the beginning stages, in my opinion, of him telling, just like we said, the analogy, lighting something on fire in the building. Instead of saying, yo, move this, move that, move this, move that, I just say, I'm unhappy. I'm about to start acting a fool around you until you make me happy. And that's what it seems like Joel is starting to do, in a kind of halfway in, halfway out kind of way. But then he come back after he said those things and then said he was trolling. And then mentioned that, you know, their GM was like the king of trolling. In other words, he's trolling too in some other way, which I didn't know the context of, but essentially that's what he was saying. So it's like, for me, if I'm Joel Embiid, I don't know if I'm on the way out right now, but if this Dame Lillard contract ain't coming to me, then maybe I want to be moving as it moves as well. That's basically what I'm saying. If Philadelphia is not going to move to get Dame on the Sixers, then they need to make a move to get Embiid off the Sixers. That is the only two things that I would accept if I'm Joel Embiid. Or, of course, you can make another trade of some sort, bring me somebody else that makes this place worth being in. But as far as I could tell, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris's contract, that ain't nothing to play with. That's nothing to want to play with, is what I'm trying to say. Tyrese Maxey is awesome. So I don't want to include him in this, but he's like the only piece. That's the point. When you look around all the league and see all these other young talented players, some of them might be as highly as talented as Maxey, or even more so. So it's all about locale at this point. It's like, do I just want to be in Philadelphia? I know it was mentioned that the Philadelphia 76ers organization believes that Joel Embiid wants to have a Dirk, Kobe, Tim Duncan-like career where he stays in one place his whole career. But I would tell them, Timmy was able to get 5 rings. Kobe got 5 rings. Dirk had a ring. Where is Joel's ring? And that's the point. Joel ain't won nothing. And unlike Dame Lillard, it's his responsibility to lead them to a championship. Because I hate to tell people this, but Dame Lillard, just because we call him a leading star does not mean that he can win without a big man piece in place, blocking shots, rebounding the ball, being huge, and getting easy buckets. He can't win a championship without him, and he never had him. Joel Embiid, that's his responsibility to be that piece, which is why I think they're in different tiers, which is why their contracts shouldn't basically match. And they don't. Dame is actually making more. But nevertheless, this is just how it works, man. This is how it works when you matter this much to a franchise. They're going to pay you like you have responsibilities that you probably aren't going to have. And that's why you don't give that type of contract to that particular type of guard or player. They don't play defense, do other things, ain't making others better particularly. He's just hitting big shots. It's a wonderful thing, but again, it doesn't really translate to your team being a contender unless you have those other elements in place, for which Joel is those elements. And so that's where it really comes down to for me. Joel can swing the tide in any way he wants to. He could say, send me to Portland, and Portland will be a contender. You know what I mean? It's like there's nowhere that Joel can't go to put himself in a position to be that guy. So what I think he needs to do is pick a place and try to maneuver his way there responsibly. Much more responsibly than some of the other players who've done this, but I do think it's time for him to consider moving on and not waiting for 2 or 3 years for his contract to manifest, because he's a bigger guy and the shelf life on a player like that is smaller. In one of them 3 years, anything could happen. You don't want to toy with that. Every season is precious for a guy like that. Heavy weight on his knees, all of that. It's not like the guy like Dame who's 6'3", 6'2", 190 pounds, 200 pounds. No, this is a lot of weight on a heavy person who has responsibilities on both sides of the floor, as we've already said. Physical guy who's going to be pushed around, who's already had injury issues. He doesn't have time to waste seasons. And if he's not serious about moving on from Philly, in my humble opinion, he should be. If he is trolling and he wants to spend the rest of his career in Philly, I would tell him, if you don't start pushing your weight around in regards to making moves, you're going to be unhappy. Just as you've been unhappy. I don't think he's been loud enough. I would have stepped in the way of them letting Jimmy Butler go if I was him. I would have stepped in the way of them. I don't know if he had the power at the time, but not taking Jason Tatum, I would have definitely had something to say about that. Like, you're gonna take Markelle Fultz? Y'all ain't gonna pair me up with that guy? I would have had something to say about that. The Ben Simmons situation, when it started going left and it became clear that they couldn't move Ben Simmons, I'd have been talking about my leverage will be in place, forcing this. Believe you me, I'd have forced that. Like, you telling me this guy's going to wait out for a half a season and I'm supposed to sit here and play on an empty team because this guy's not going to be available because y'all can't come to terms with whatever? Okay, if you can't move him, I'm certain you can move me. Get me the hell out of here. That would have been what I said during the Ben Simmons situation. But he was quiet, and he was playing good boy, and he just ran out there and wasted a season with them. And it's just like, man, you're being a little too bashful as it pertains to speaking out. You're quick to speak out when it's time to tell a joke or something of that nature. But when it's time to make decisions within that organization that affect you directly in your limited time on this NBA, it's like you're hesitant. It's like you, like I said, playing both sides. Like, I kind of want to put a pressure on him, but I kind of want to play the nice guy because I don't want people to be mad at me. It's almost like he's acting that way. And I'm telling you, they ain't going to be mad at you. They just glad you ain't mad at them. And that's what it's really about. Joel Embiid's power, he needs to realize his power before his prime is gone. And he going to pull the same thing that Dame did, and it'll be too late to move because people ain't going to want to see you in that same price tag like they do right now. Right now, his contract is great. Even though it's making $54 million at the end of it, I'm fine with that. That's Joel Embiid. Give him to me. I'll take that contract for sure. That's a leading guy. He's worth the coin. He just won the MVP. He's going to keep me in the championship so long as I put him on in a good situation that allows for him to have energy at the end of the season, which is a big deal with him. Big deal with him. But part of that has to do with him having enough people good enough to stay on the floor when he's not out there. And to be quite honest with you, Philly ain't never had a team that was good enough to do that. So that's what it is. For me, I'm just getting up out of there. Because for me, in order for Philly to actually turn into what it is that they're going to need to turn into, they're likely going to need my value to reset with if I'm Joel Embiid. Now, granted, they're going to be looking for another Joel Embiid. That's obvious. You're going to want what you have in me. But the point is, it doesn't look to me that they're able to quickly fix their situation. Not as it pertains to the contracts that they have. Tobias Harris coming off the books is major. But the problem is, it seems to me they want to hold on to him, which is a mistake, because the best way to get the most for that contract is to move it in its expiring year. Get everything you can for it. That cap space that you're going to have when he expires next season is going to be a lot more than that when Joel Embiid wants the hell up out of there. You see what I'm saying? You're going to have a lot more than $35 million open to pay somebody. So that's why you take that value this year as a win now year and don't allow it to stay on your books as a very, very nice asset that ultimately ain't going to lead to you winning. You can take that $35 million worth of cap space and turn it into something that will definitely help you win. And that is your responsibility right now if you're the Philadelphia 76ers. So I'm moving Tobias Harris right here and now. He's probably moved this week if I got a choice. With all this stuff that's going on with, Joel's name coming up and he ain't wanting to be, he ain't all that happy and all this. This is when you move on from that asset because it's valuable as hell. I don't know if I'm trading it for a guy who's on multiple years at the same price. That might be the way to go. You know what I mean? Maybe an OG Anunoby package. Tobias Harris. I'm obviously Toronto. That's Masai Ujiri, so he's gonna ask for he's gonna ask for more than that. But the point is, that's what you want. If you feel it, you want to take that of which is Tobias Harris expiring contract and turn it into something real for yourself. So that's pretty much what I gotta say, man. Gotta get going. My name is BDO44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.